Okay, last Instant Pot video for this mini series, and I'll tell you why I'm a day late. Hey guys, all right, so my mini series was for April. It is the first day of May, but we are moving and some contractors were available earlier than I thought, so I was not able to finish my filming. So I am in a new location today. There might be quite a few videos in a few different locations coming up because my mother so graciously is letting me film in her house because my house has people in and out and it is just a hot mess right now. So I am in her kitchen. I brought all of my stuff over and we are going to create 3 pretty easy freezer meals for your Instant Pot. So today I am just going to be showing you guys how to put them together, to put them into your freezer, and then as I cook them in the pretty near future, I will have a what's for dinner video where I actually cook these in my Instant Pot so you guys can see the follow through, how the recipes turned out and all of that. So let's get down to the counter and start prepping these freezer meals for our Instant Pot. Okay, so like I said, we are going to be making 3 freezer meals for our Instant Pot today. And first step is to label your freezer bags with all the instructions, because once you start to fill these bags, it's really hard to write on them. So today we are going to be prepping a pot roast. So I've got the date on here. I did put IP, so I know that this is an Instant Pot freezer meal. And then I have my instructions for after when I want to cook it. We're also going to be prepping an orange chicken and then a taco soup. So I've got all of my ingredients and I'm gonna show you guys one at a time. We are going to start with the easiest one, and this one is only 4 ingredients. So I picked up some chicken thin sliced breast, and it was actually on clearance, so I only paid $3.65 for it. You're going to need a whole jar of orange marmalade. This is the Walmart brand. We always have soy sauce on hand, so I didn't even have to go out and purchase this. I need about 1/4 cup, and then we always have barbecue sauce as well, so I didn't need to purchase this either. And I need 1 cup of barbecue sauce. And I've got my bag already labeled. I will have a link to these bag holders down below in case you guys want them. They make freezer meals, prepping freezer meals so easy. I can't even remember how it was like prepping them without it because these just make it so much more easy. I love it. So all I'm going to do is basically dump all of this stuff in the bag. So I'm going to open up my chicken, put that in the bag, and then put all of this in there as well. And then we are done. And there you have it, orange chicken prepped for your freezer. I do like to go ahead and just mush it up, roll it around, and just make sure that all of the flavors, those 3 extra ingredients, the sauces, get really nice and combined. I always feel like that just helps a little bit more when it's cooking as well. So this one is done. Let's move on to recipe number 2. Okay, so this is a recipe that I changed up just a little bit due to not being able to find exactly what I needed. So I originally found this recipe a while ago and it was called root beer pork roast. When I went to the store, they had absolutely no pork. Like, I feel like their shipment was late or something. There was nothing but pork chops. So I just went ahead and picked up a beef pot roast, and I'm going to use almost the same ingredients and just see how it turns out. So if you guys are curious how this turns out, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell so you're notified when I upload the What's for Dinner Freezer Meal Instant Pot edition. So I've got my pot roast here. It did cost me about $12. I was only looking for about 2 pounds, but this was the smallest one I could find at 2.43. So I'm just going to make do and see how it turns out. Then I'm going to be using 1/2 teaspoon of garlic salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. This is one thing that I'm changing up also. So I didn't want to go out and purchase a whole bunch of stuff. I kind of want to use what I have on hand. And I have a bunch of Thrive containers that I have been just using in and out of some regular recipes of mine. but I've never tried freezing them before. So, because they're already freeze dried, but I do want the flavors to kind of mix together. So if you don't want to, I know that's kind of like double dipping sort of on the freeze dried thing, but if you want to leave these out and just put them in when you're cooking, when it's cooking time, you could totally do that. I'm gonna go ahead and try freezing them with everything else and just see how it turns out. So I've got my onion slices here. You're gonna need about 1 1/4 cups of sliced onion. This is the only thing I had to buy other than the actual meat for this recipe. I already had everything on hand, so I did have to go out and buy some root beer. This is not something that I typically buy, only for recipes. So I went ahead and picked up one of those, and it was just a better deal. It's $1 for this 2 liter versus more than $1, like $1.47, maybe even more than that for one of the smaller, you know, single serving size root beers. So I only need about 3/4 cups of that. Then I need a 1/4 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I picked these up from the Dollar Tree a while ago, and I just plopped them in my freezer so they were ready when I needed them. So, and this one pouch is 2 tablespoons, so it's exactly what I need. Then I'm gonna need a 1/2 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of W sauce, and that's what I call this because I always butcher the name. I don't know why I can't pronounce it. I never can pronounce it correctly. So I just call it W sauce. Then 1 tablespoon of honey and 1 tablespoon of flour. So all we're going to do is put all of this together in the amounts that I told you into our bag, just like the chicken. Okay, that is done. I've got all of the ingredients in here, just dump and go pretty much. So I'm gonna go ahead and just rub everything as well as I can on here. Make sure your bag is completely closed so it's not leaking out when you're doing all this rubbing. But just to get all the flavors combined and everything mixed up. And then we are going to move on to the 3rd recipe. Okay, you guys, so the last recipe that I am sharing for the freezer meal in your Instant Pot is taco soup. Taco soup is something that my whole family enjoys. I have made it on the stove top. I have made it in the crock pot. I've made normal freezer meals of this before, but I've never cooked it in the Instant Pot. So I am going to give it a try. So the only thing I had to buy for this recipe, everything else I had already in my kitchen, in my freezer, is a can of pinto beans. Now I have a ton of fresh pinto beans, like dried beans, but the canned ones just work better for this. So that is the only thing I had to purchase. Everything else I already had on hand. So for this recipe, you are going to need 1 pound of cooked ground beef. So I am going to have to cook this up, and when I cook my ground beef, I always use onion powder and garlic powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and brown this up because you are not supposed to do recipes with raw ground beef. You need to cook it first before you freeze it. So I just wanted to show you guys that, and I will show it to you once I cook it up. Then you're also going to need some diced onions, which I already have these chopped onions on hand. So I'm going to, again, try this out. I'm gonna use these chopped onions, and plus that takes out a step for me. I don't have to worry about chopping or dicing any onions. So I'm using those. Then I'm gonna need 1/3 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, 3 teaspoons of ranch salad or dressing mix, 2 teaspoons of taco seasoning, then a can of whole kernel corn, a can of diced tomatoes, a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. So I just bought this Rotel, or actually I didn't buy it, I already had it. So I had the can of Rotel on hand, and then I had to go out and purchase a can of pinto beans. So all you've got to do is, I'm going to brown my meat, and then same thing, it is just dump and go into the bag. Okay, my meat is browned. I did add some garlic powder and onion powder to it just to give it a little bit more flavor, and I really just dislike the smell of cooking raw meat. I don't know why. So I have everything else dumped in my bag here. I'm just going to add my ground beef, close it, mix it all up, and then we are set. There's the taco soup, and all 3 of them are ready for my freezer. All right, guys, now I have 3 more meals in my freezer for just pulling out, dumping in my Instant Pot, and dinner is served. I love having quick things on hand for those super busy nights, especially if you guys know we're in the process of moving. We are doing some repairs to our home just to make it more move-in ready for potential buyers. So we are very, very busy right now. So I love just taking an hour or 2 and using mostly what I have on hand and just going ahead and prepping dinners. That way, when it is dinner time, I can just pull it out and it is ready to go. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you are new, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified when I upload. Even though this is the last video in my Instant Pot mini series, I am still going to be sharing more Instant Pot or pressure cooker videos in the future. I actually have a pressure cooker giveaway coming up. So you're definitely gonna wanna be subscribed and notified when I upload that video. So thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know down below if there is any other recipes you would like me to share with you guys in the future, and I will jot those down because I am always looking for more inspiration in the kitchen. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.